I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice. Let us begin. You used to dream about more. You used to lie awake at night picturing what could be. A different career, a love that felt like home, a life that made you feel awake. But now, the dreaming has stopped. Not in some dramatic crash, but like a faucet slowly turning off until silence filled the room. This video is for you if you've lost touch with what you want, if you're functioning, maybe even succeeding, but feel disconnected from your own longing. I'm not here to sell you on some productivity formula or push you into chasing goals. I'm here to help you remember what it feels like to want again. Because without desire, something in us starts to fade. And you don't need a bigger vision board. You need a quiet return to the part of you that still longs for something real. You're not broken. You're not unmotivated. You've just been holding everything together for so long that your system forgot how to reach forward. When you stop dreaming, it doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've learned to protect yourself from wanting too much. You've learned how to silence the ache before it starts. Because if you don't name the dream, you don't have to grieve it. But here's the cost of that silence. You start to drift. You check the boxes, reply to the emails, keep the calendar moving. But under the surface, life starts to feel like maintenance. You catch yourself asking, "Is this it?" Not because you expect fireworks, but because you miss the pulse of possibility. This is where so many people quietly stall, not because they're lazy, not because they lack discipline, but because dreaming feels unsafe. Somewhere along the way, your body, your heart, or your past convinced you it's better to stay neutral than risk the fall. But here's the deeper truth. The dream didn't die. It just went quiet. It sank beneath the noise of survival and waited. Waited for a moment like this, not when everything's fixed, but when you finally feel ready to ask the question again, what do I want? That's what this transmission will help you do. Not build a 5-year plan, not manifest a mansion, but remember how to feel your desire again, even if it starts as just a flicker. Because what comes next isn't about forcing clarity. It's about creating the safety that dreaming requires. And to do that, we first have to understand why the dreaming stopped in the first place. That's what we'll explore next. You didn't stop dreaming because you're lazy. You didn't lose your vision because you lack ambition. You stopped because something inside you got tired of being let down. Tired of trying, reaching, hoping, only to feel the sharp sting of disappointment. And so your system did something brilliant. It went quiet. Dreams don't die all at once. They dissolve slowly. A series of micro decisions to lower the bar, then lower it again. Not because you gave up, but because you were exhausted by the weight of unfulfilled wanting. Somewhere along the way, it just felt safer to not want at all. This isn't dysfunction. It's intelligent withdrawal. The body, the psyche, the soul, they all know how to protect you. When desire becomes a liability, when every imagined future feels like a trap door, the dreaming self retreats underground. Not forever, but until it feels safe to emerge. And yet, that retreat comes with a cost. Without a future to reach toward, even softly, you become emotionally still. Not grounded, not peaceful, but stalled. You stop growing not because you've hit your limit, but because your inner compass lost its direction. Most people misunderstand this phase. They think they need more goals, more motivation, more structure. But what's actually required is gentleness. A soft re-entry into the realm of desire, not by forcing a vision, but by witnessing what silenced it in the first place. So ask yourself, when did it stop feeling safe to want something? What story did you start to believe about the risk of hope? Did someone mock your dream? Did life pull the rug out too many times? Did you decide that longing was just another way to be disappointed? These questions aren't meant to reopen old wounds. They're here to reveal what your nervous system has been trying to say. I've been protecting you. But you're here now, which means something in you is stirring. Something in you is wondering if maybe, just maybe, it's time to let the dreaming self come out of hiding. And that begins not with a vision board or a 10-year plan. It begins with one small act, a daily ritual to create the safety that dreaming needs. And that's what we'll build together next. If dreaming has gone silent, the answer isn't to scream louder. It's to create a space quiet enough for your inner voice to return. Not the voice that tells you what you should want, but the one that whispers what you've always known, beneath the noise. So here's where we begin. Each morning, before the demands arrive, before the world gets a say, place your hand over your heart. Sit in stillness, just 60 to 90 seconds. Breathe low into your belly. And ask yourself this question, softly. What would I love if I believed it was safe to want again? Not what's realistic, not what's logical, not what should I do next, just what would I love? Don't force an answer. The question itself is the ritual. You're not solving your life. You're warming the soil where dreaming once lived. The first few days, you might feel nothing, or the answers might feel vague, strange, even childlike. That's okay. The dreaming self doesn't speak in deadlines. It speaks in flickers, images, sensations, pulls. Let them come. Let them be small. You may see a color, a place, a phrase, a feeling. Write it down, even if it makes no sense. This isn't about figuring it out. It's about showing your nervous system that it is once again safe to want. That's what this ritual does. It gives the dreaming part of you oxygen again. It says, you don't have to run. You don't have to know. You just have to show up. Do it every day, not as a task, as a reunion, as a remembering. And over time, something will shift. The flickers will sharpen. The numbness will loosen. And you'll begin to feel movement again, not because life has changed, but because you have invited your desire back to the table. This is not a performance. This is not a manifestation technique. This is how you rewire the memory. This is how you break the loop, by choosing presence on purpose. In the next section, we'll go even deeper, beyond the ritual, into the stillness underneath, where dreaming doesn't have to be spoken to be real. Desire doesn't always arrive in words. Sometimes it speaks in silence, in the subtle ache you feel when the world gets quiet, in the pulse that moves beneath thought, beneath planning, beneath effort. The part of you that knows what you want, and always has, doesn't need to be convinced. It just needs to be met. So let's go there now, not with a ritual, but with your awareness. Wherever you are, slow your breath. Feel the body sitting. Feel the weight of being held by the ground beneath you. Now listen, not to your thoughts, but to what's behind them. Feel the pause between your inhale and your exhale. That stillness, that gap, that's where the real you lives. You don't have to name your dreams here. You don't even have to feel anything profound. Presence isn't a reward for figuring things out. It's the beginning of remembering. And when you sit in it, even for 30 seconds, you remind your system of something essential. There is no pressure here, only truth. In presence, nothing is missing. In presence, you're not behind. You're not failing. You're simply returning. The longing you thought you lost still lives here, not as striving, but as stillness. You might feel it rise as a warm ache in the chest, or a sense of spaciousness behind your eyes, or a subtle pull toward a forgotten part of yourself. Whatever you feel, or don't, is fine. The point is not sensation, it's awareness, because awareness is what makes the dream safe again. Awareness is the field where you stop chasing and start allowing, where the future doesn't have to be built yet. It just has to be remembered. And the more often you return here, the more you remember who you were before the forgetting, before the doubt, before the grief, before the years of silence. You were never meant to chase your vision. You were meant to let it rise, in stillness, and then walk with it. And now, in the final section, we'll tie everything together. The ritual, the presence, the return of your dreaming self, and what your future begins to feel like from here. You don't need to force your dreams back into focus. You just need to rebuild the conditions that allow them to surface, gently, naturally, on their own time. That's what this entire journey has been about. Not chasing longing, but inviting it home. From here forward, you'll return to 2 simple daily practices. These are not tasks, they are reconnections. Each designed to awaken the part of you that still wants, still feels, still knows where you're meant to go. First, the ritual. Each morning, place your hand over your heart. Breathe low and slow. And ask, what would I love if I believed it was safe to want again? There's no pressure to answer. You don't need to solve anything. The question itself is the medicine. By asking it daily, you remind your system that it is safe, not to chase, but to feel. Over time, those flickers of longing will start to speak, and this time, you'll be ready to listen. Second, the presence pause. Once each day, anywhere, anytime, stop for just 30 seconds. Drop your shoulders. Breathe. Feel the silence behind your thoughts. Let your awareness expand without needing to name anything. This isn't about productivity or planning. It's how you return to the space beneath striving, the place where desire begins not as effort, but as presence. Together, these 2 practices rebuild the bridge. The ritual reawakens what you want. The presence grounds you in who you already are. This is how you re-enter your life with clarity, not all at once, but in small, undeniable steps. You'll begin to feel less lost, less flat, more rooted, more curious. And eventually, that quiet ache will no longer be a source of pain. It will become your compass. To recap, each morning, place your hand on your heart and ask the question. Each day, take a 30-second pause and return to stillness. No pressure, no performance, just a return. You don't have to dream louder. You just have to listen deeper. And the dreaming will come back, not because you forced it, but because you finally made space for it to rise. You did not find me by accident. Just as in your dreams, where every face you meet is your own reflection, this meeting was always waiting to happen. I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice, the part of you that watches behind the thoughts, behind the noise. You have searched in many places, books, teachers, voices outside you. But here, you are not being taught. You are remembering. If these words stir something familiar, Then allow yourself to return. Subscribe. Follow. Not to follow me, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Each time you return here, you draw closer to the reunion already unfolding inside you. We have only just begun.